Steven and I seem to keep trying to get people to understand in this comment section. And it was just like, people were just focusing on the shoes. I'm like, the shoes has nothing to do with this. Like, they're talking about the thing in general. And so why do you think there is that thing? This is something that we've discussed, but what do you think was making people focus on the shoes and not really understand that SMV aspect of that whole thing and focus on just the shoes? And then if you could get them off of the shoes, they focus on it's just the sex. Like, no, the sex is just a part of the grander scheme if and only if you're looking for a long-term relationship, even if it's a polygamous. But yeah, it's frustrating.
Well, because I think a lot of it, like, people don't really fully understand sexual market value, which we just described, or they don't like the concept of it because they think it's degrading, or some people just thought we meant value as a human being inherently, which, as we just said, is not the case. Either way, it's like it could be a bit of misunderstanding. It could just be people have emotional issues with the standards. I think we'd have to address it person by person. I mean, we're going to go through the comments and talk,
Yeah.
and then maybe we can just say, I think this person misunderstood, or I think for some people they're sensitive about it, like in that other thread where a few of the women were saying, oh, this is degrading. But then again, we made that point about like every human being functions this way. And it's like, you wouldn't, if a woman is like, oh, this is degrading. Well, okay, would you date any guy who's interested in you? No. Okay, well, then you can't say it's degrading because you're rating men too. If you're going to rate men are going to rate you as well. I had a conversation with another female friend. She kind of said similar stuff like, oh, women feel degraded whatever when men do this. I'm like, okay, but do women rank men? Like, does Drake have way more options than I do? Does Future have more? It's like women rate men all the time. It's like, you just don't like it when it's applied to you because you're not getting the super high rank that you want. But I mean, you can't accept reality. I don't know. Yes.
That's the thing. It's not bad to rate people. It's like,
Yeah.
in general, on the greater SMV, like in the West, I have very low SMV in the West. I'm not like a high SMV people in general on average. I understand that about myself. That's another common thing. Like, do you have a lot of, I'm like, no, I don't. I'm saying this from experience. Like, my SMV is low, but I'm aware of it. I'm not out there like wondering how come I don't have like the hottest women, most attractive physical women with capabilities and all these other things like just banging at my door. I understand that because people are allowed to have certain standards and people have certain options. And if they have other options, they get to pick the best option that they think they can achieve. And that's not a bad thing to do. And it's not a bad thing to have standards. Standards are good. If you value your standards, if your principle is actually based off of actual solid things that you understand, then hold on to those things. You might be wrong, but nobody's owed a relationship.
No.
Even in friends, and this is the thing, this is another thing that I keep wondering to people. When I see some of these comments here, I'm like, do you have friends? Like, how is your relationship with friends? What do you talk about? What do you base those things on? Because don't you judge your friends? Isn't there certain things that even in a platonic relationship that's not sexual? Now, when you're just meeting a friend, there's no SMV involved into there, but there's still a value. There's PMV, paternal market value. Like, somebody has value as a friend. Does this friend look out for you? Or does this friend encourage you to do bad things? There's different things you're going to grade friends on as well. That's why you're not just, your best friend is not just the same as any random person you meet. You don't just like have a problem come up and just dial a random number and pick up the phone and have somebody pick up and talk to that person about the deepest things in your life. No, you have a friend because that person has built up a certain level of valuation and you value that person more than you value other people. That's not objectifying that person. That's not making that friend less a human being than it is. That's actually granting them and being aware of the human aspect of the choices that person has done. And thank you for listening. This has been a clip from an actual longer recording that I'll try to leave a link to on the screen or somewhere around here where you're listening to this.
Presents. 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 Presents.
Peasants.
Okay. Okay.